get into your physical. It's time to talk some piss and more. We gonna talk about it all. DVD, CD, UHD, VHS, books, Blu-ray. Who knows, maybe you'll even see a laser disc today. Let's get physical. We wanna talk some physical media. Movies and TV, music and more. Come check out what we have in store. This is a media house dream. It's time for some physical media on FanZcene.
I know it was like really popular because it like won some Oscars and whatever, but
Jimmy does that.
It's got the Mighty Ducks guy. Got that guy.
No! Yes, but no! He's not the Mighty Ducks guy! It's Emilio Estevez! For the Brand! You can never have enough physical media.
Always true. Always true. Well, hello, fellow followers. Welcome back to the Physical Media Show here on FanZcene. With me tonight is just Tom. It's going to be just me and Tom tonight. We're going to have some fun. We're going to talk to you guys about some physical media and a bunch of other things. So make sure you tell your friends, your family to get in here and watch the show, chat in the chat, share out the link, subscribe, like, do all that good things. We're going to have a good time. We're going to talk physical media and have a good time.
Sorry, it's late.
No problem. No, right on time. You're never late. You're always on time.
A wizard arrives when he intends.
Just when he intends to. But let's go ahead and say hi to the chat real quick.
Hi, chat.
I like turtles.
I like lots of turtles.
I like turtles.
I like boobies, but hey.
Me too.
Who doesn't? Hail to you, Brian Barth. Glad to see you in the chat. Evening to you, Danny Holy. Glad to see you out there as well. Howdy, Dobo Fett. Glad to see you too. What is up? Trevor Maurer says, hi, everybody. It's pretty cold where I am in Australia. Well, it's pretty dang hot where I'm here in America. We've been under a heat wave for like 2-3 weeks now. It's like 100, feels like 100, but it's like 90 something, but it's hot. I could use some of that cold weather. But I mean, like, you're the opposite of us, right? So like, we're in the middle of summer and you guys are like winter, right? Isn't that what is going on? But yes, Brian Barth, I think I said, yeah, we did. We both did. And that might come up. I mean, that might come up tonight. What can I say? It might be part of the show. Corleone Rogue. Hi, how are you? Reverend Jim, says Heineken, fuck that shit. Pabst Blue Ribbon. Yes, that's going to come up tonight too. I love that line, by the way. That is a great line. That's going to come up tonight. It's from one of my picks I have. Tyrell72, good evening to you. Live long and prosper. Glad to have you with us. And Void King, glad to see you there. Is Superman 25 a real movie? That's for you, Tom. It says question for you. Yes, I'll answer for Tom. Yes, it is a real movie. It is a real movie.
What does you mean by real movie?
That's what I was. I mean, it's a movie. You go to the cinema, you see it. So, but I think that's everybody out there.
Oh, is that what he's referring to? Like the Scorsese thing? Is it cinema?
Oh, cinema.
It's more cinema than a lot of the other comic book movies. But James Gunn, look, whether you like him or not, you have to admit that he knows how to touch a chord with the public. He makes movies that are enjoyable. I've yet to see one of his films I didn't like. Leave it at that for now.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. All right. Well, before we get into what the physical media releases are coming and what we have physical media on our physical media for tonight, my friend, director Richard Gabai, has started a new podcast here on the YouTubes with his good friend Robert Carradine from Revenge of the Nerds. And he asked me if I would help promote his. Yes. He asked if I would help promote their podcast that they're doing called Revenge of the Party Nerds, the podcast. So I have a trailer.
I'm interested in this. What the heck is this?
They sent me a trailer. I'm going to play for you guys, and I'll put a link to their channel in the description right here, or in the chat section here, so you guys can check it out. But enjoy Revenge of the Nerd podcast. Here you go.
The Revenge of the Party Nerds podcast, coming to you live from an undisclosed location in my living room high in the Hollywood Hills. I'm Richard Gabbai, your favorite party nerd, joined by everyone's favorite revenge nerd, the legendary Mr. Robert Carradine.
Yes,
How
sir.
the hell are you, man?
Damn fine, thank you.
Well, Veronica Cartwright,
Oh gosh, I haven't had one of these in a year.
I haven't had one of these today.
Mr. Daniel Roebuck,
Thank you so much for having me. Well, it's the same body. It just, it doesn't quite look the same.
I feel like no one kind of forgets their first time.
Bobby, you know what I mean about the accent thing, right?
Absolutely, man. I was married to an accent.
I'm married to one now.
Come on, you try it.
I can't take it anymore!
What a great introduction. You're not there, man. You're not there.
There you
Nice.
guys have it. Yes.
Oh, it's fun.
Yeah. So check that out. Their first episode is up now. You can go watch it. It's just, the first episode is just them two talking. They talk about the Cowboys, Robert Carradine, his first job in the Cowboys and what it was like with John Wayne. That was pretty good. But there's their YouTube channel
I
right
just
there.
brought that on not that long ago.
I know, because I remember you brought it on and you talked about, and there's a young Robert Carradine in it. And I remember you saying that. So you guys go subscribe to him. I know Richard, he's a great guy. He sent me that. He asked me if I could help promote it a little bit. Not that they need my help. I mean, they know what they're doing. They've been in the industry for years, but I said my audience and, our audience is very connected to those people and their movies. So I said I would play that for them and help spread the word of their channel for what I can do. I mean, I do what I can, and that's stuff I'm into. So I hope you guys like it and go check it out. And if you leave a comment, make sure you let them know it comes from me. I'll see if I can get Richard back on the channel again. Maybe we'll get lucky one day. We'll get Carradine. He's a bit bigger star than Richard. But with that being
would
said,
be amazing.
yeah, that wouldn't. I mean, I know Richard. I've had him on here. He's a good guy. We're friends. We've emailed. Who knows? But I mean, it's funny because like their story is Richard Gabbai grew up watching Carradine and Robert Carradine movies, and his two favorite movies growing up were Animal House and Revenge of the Nerds. And so he literally ripped off those two movies for his first movie, and he called it Assault of the Party Nerds, where he basically ripped off those two movies. And then eventually he met Robert Carradine, and they became like really best friends. They're like best friends. So that's how it's crazy how that all works. But with that being said, what do we have for upcoming releases?
Not much. It looks like we might be getting some more Universal 4K horrors: Son of Dracula, House of Frankenstein, House of Dracula, Dracula's Daughter.
Oh, nice.
It sounds like that might even be in September. Otherwise, stuff that I think we've already announced before, like Meet the Parents, Aaron Brockovich,
Yeah.
40-Year-Old Virgin, Twisters is getting a double feature steelbook.
Oh, yeah, I did see that.
Batman is getting re-released again, but I think we knew that. Dark Knight trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even know if there's anything different about it. I think it's just in a steelbook, to be honest with you. Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a slow week. There was one from Kino Lorber. What was it?
Was it one we already talked about though? I think maybe that's something. It's one we already knew about.
It might be. I remember reposting it though.
Oh no, yeah, I did see it. What was it? It was I reposted. It's the Rock movie, The Rock, Walking Tall.
Yes, Walking Tall
On 4K.
Yep.
The Rock's Walking Tall on 4K.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was the only other new thing we had announced. Yeah, I'm looking back here and I'm not seeing much else.
Yeah, I don't think seen the Double Fez said the Graduate on 4K got announced for the UK,
Oh, yeah.
which I think we already got the 4K here in the US, right?
I think if Criterion doesn't announce that, no, we haven't.
Oh, we
'Cause
don't.
It hasn't. Yeah, and if Criterion doesn't announce it anytime soon, I have a feeling it'll probably be in one of the Columbia box sets.
Okay.
And we did talk about Night of Living Dead because that was like
Yeah,
weeks
Night
ago,
of the
so-
Living Dead
or
still
last
booked.
week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doctor Who Classic 13, Season 13 Classic Who, if you're a Doctor Who fan. Good evening, Media Mike, and bruh, what's up, Ace Hanlon? Yeah, I think that was about it for releases. Nothing. It's a bit of a slow. It's funny because it's a bit of a slow physical media thing. So, and plus we've sort of been in a certain, surprisingly, been into some newer movies here lately. With which will come up tonight in the show. which is not typically the thing here, is it? I mean, well, Tom, you watch more newer ones than I do for your job that you'd have, but I try to watch newer movies as I can. So, but we'll talk a little bit about them. What's up, hell to you, Tim Hayes? Glad to see you in the chat. But with that being said, let's get into it. What do we have for our picks of the night? Tom, do you want to go first, or you want to wait a minute and let me go first?
I can go first, I guess. Yeah, so I finished off my journey through Jurassic World. This I have the old. This one just has Jurassic World 1 in it, but I also have Jurassic World 3D.
Hey, I remember that tin.
Handy dandy tin. There you go. Yeah. Look at that. Yeah. Ooh, nice.
How's it sit on your shelf?
Not bad. At least you got this.
Yeah, the little
It
bottom.
helps. But you also have a leather flap that you can display it if you want to too, like a.
Oh, that's
like
cool.
Yeah.
Like a picture thing.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And I mean, this was shot in 2K or whatever, or at least finished in 2K, I should say, not shot in 2K. And I checked it up against the 4K, and I didn't think the 4K looked all that great. I mean, it looks fine, but it didn't look any better than the Blu-ray or the 3D version. But it's fun. It's fine for the most part, but it's not great. I was not as big a fan of this as a lot of people were, because I saw it as just a retread and another broken promise, because I thought it was supposed to be people in this park and people are going to get ate up. And that's like 5-10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, it's just one big scene.
Yeah. I mean, otherwise, this probably has the best story that's not a Jurassic Park ripoff, with the whole, we got this Indominus Rex thing. For some dumb reason, we made,
a new dinosaur.
A new dinosaur that's, got two of the biggest, one of the biggest and worst predators mixed into its DNA, right? So yeah, and then you have Chris Pratt having Blue and the crew, Alpha and Delta and all that kind of stuff. Like, that part of it is fine. The callbacks and all the constant reminders that it's a Jurassic Park movie, that's what kind of drags it down. But the newer elements actually work so much in that one, and the 3D is fine. And then
I was just about to say that, Six. I do like his shirt. I do like his shirt.
Then of course I had to sit through this shit. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. This is still hands down the worst fucking Jurassic Park movie.
That one was so bad that it made me not want to watch the next one, and I still haven't.
And I can understand why. Because yeah, this thing just sucks. How much else can I say other than that? I mean, most of this movie doesn't even take place on an island. Most of it's in a mansion, and this whole subplot with the clone daughter, I hate it.
Oh yeah,
and of course that comes back again in Jurassic World Dominion, where basically the plot is, no, the dinosaurs are not free and taking over the world, although there's some out there. We're kidnapping this kid now. You got to go find her, and there's big bugs, and all the old people are back.
Yay!
That's all right. And I have never seen the extended cut all the way through, but I did watch like some of the scenes, because I also have this from Turbine imported, which is the 3D release of Dominion, since it didn't get one here.
Oh, cool.
So there you go. So I took the journey through Jurassic World, and I even seen the new one, Rebirth.
What'd you think?
I don't know how a movie can be both a better written script and a worse Jurassic World movie at the same time than any of the last films. Because as a generic monster movie kind of thing, it's fine, but as a dinosaur movie, it fails on every level. As a Jurassic World movie, it fails on every level. It is boring in a lot of bits. The best scene you've seen already in the trailer with the T-Rex, because that's one of the few times you actually get an actual dinosaur and not some literally, like, because look, what this island is a bunch of retarded dinosaurs. I'm not even making this shit up. It's the rejects that they threw on this island because they were too much of an eyesore or whatever was wrong with them, because they were mutants. They didn't turn out right.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't even euthanize them. Like, because even ScarJo's like, why didn't you just euthanize them? And they're like, well, we couldn't euthanize a $70 million investment. I'm sitting here thinking, well, David Zaslav did that to Batgirl. That was 90.
Yeah.
Anyhow, I mean, yeah, so 90% of the creatures are not even really technically dinosaurs. They're like that Ricky Bearwick dinosaur you saw that's like
Oh, yeah, yeah.
something out of Alien.
Looks like
And
a
then you got and then you got the raptors that are like a mix between raptors, the dinosaurs and pterodactyls. So they're like raptordactyls. Like, I mean, I guess there is an actual pterodactyl here, but then there's like this one like brachiosaurus kind of dinosaur that they also were looking for that I don't think is a real dinosaur. Maybe it is, but I don't think it is.
Mm-hmm.
There's just, but that one was like one. It's like, why are these dinosaurs here? Because they shouldn't even be here if this is the reject island. Because they're fine. There's nothing. Because they don't even tell you which T-Rex it is if it's even one we've seen before.
Right.
Like I really don't get it, and the characters are so boring, and they literally stop the movie time and time again to give you some exposition backstory on them that doesn't amount to anything. Mahershala Ali's backstory is the only one that kind of really comes back around at the end. Because like Scarlett Johansson, for instance, goes on this long thing about where she got PTSD from one of her last missions she was on, but yet it never comes up again, and she has no problem doing what she does.
Why even bring it up?
Exactly. She kind of girl bosses her way through the movie, and it's so kind of like generic. It's like, okay, so she's supposed to be this badass survivalist, but of course she's a survivalist with a heart of gold. You know, so it's like, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and then the rest of the cast is kind of, they're just there for fodder. And then there's this fucking family that's there for no good fucking reason.
They always got to bring in the family, right?
They do. They got to bring in some kids or a family for no good fucking reason whatsoever. And these people are sailing in an area that's supposed to be restricted, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're literally using a sailboat to sail across the Atlantic from one island to another or some shit like that. I can't even remember where they said they were going. So it's this dad and his two daughters and the older daughter's boyfriend. And it's like, why are these people even in the movie? So it almost feels like there's two separate movies here crammed together as one. And it just, and then I guess we heard today that there was notes to take out all the Spielberg isms and all the Jurassic Park references. And it's just like, so are you gonna have any Jurassic Park in your Jurassic Park movie at all?
Why, yeah, why not just like the way Energy said? Why not just change it? I mean, he said, would your opinion change the Direct World Rebirth if they changed the title to a low budget film? Why didn't they just make it something different then if they didn't want none of the Spielberg stuff?
Like Terror Island. I don't care what the fuck you call it.
Yeah.
Like, whatever. You could have had the same exact plot in its own original film.
That's
insane. It wouldn't have mattered.
That's insane.
Because the dinosaurs are so secondary here. And all the stuff that has anything to do with Jurassic World or any kind of attachment to that is so second or even tertiary at that point.
It's insane.
Needless to say, we've got less good Jurassic films now than we have good ones.
Yeah. Would you say this one is worse than people are saying or better than people are saying?
The movie treats the audience like an idiot. So that's one problem.
I hate when they do that.
Yeah. I mean, for instance, like there's the scene you've seen with the T-Rex in the raft, right? Well, like on the side of the raft, it says must be inflated on land. They show it once, they show it twice, and then they show it a third time where they literally linger on it for like 20 seconds. And it's like, I think we got the idea the first time. Right? Like, so that's kind of an example of this movie in a nutshell. It's like, just beats you over the head with everything, and it's so obvious, and everybody's a near miss, or you know exactly who's going to die, and it's just, anyhow. Yeah. I wish I could recommend it, but it's like a 5 or a 6 out of 10. It's worse than the last few Jurassic World movies as far as a Jurassic film, but it's a better film than the last 3 or 4 movies in that franchise. Like, that's the weird thing. Because like I said, it's horrible as a Jurassic movie, but it's fine as just like some generic monster movie. Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah. Do you think Jurassic Park should have been a franchise? Brian Barth wants to know.
Yeah, there's a lot of room they still haven't explored. Like I mean, you had Jurassic Park, you had Jurassic World. The next logical step is Jurassic World War.
Yeah.
We
Like,
gave the
without
dinosaurs guns, we taught them, and now they turned against us.
of course.
Chaos Theory found an Uzi.
There you go. Much like Planet of the War of the Planet of the Apes, when they learn how to, eventually the dinosaurs are going to step up and
You
want to
keep
take
messing
over.
with it and making mutants. Something's gonna pop off. Yeah.
I mean, can we get them? I mean, if you're going to make them say Alan, make them say some other stuff.
Alan.
Alan.
Oh my god! All right, that's enough of that.
All right, I guess I'll do my first pick, which you haven't seen this one, so you probably won't do much talking on
Maybe
this
not.
one. So my first pick is David Lynch's Blue
Not yet.
Velvet. I enjoyed this one. I still think Mulholland Drive and The Lost Highway are my two favorite David Lynch films that I've seen so far. But I had never seen Blue Velvet before. I got it in the Criterion thing. Once again, though, Criterion, come on, man. I hate these. Look at this crap. Come on, Criterion. Do something. Give me a pocket or something, man, and some better cases. No, but I would have to say, if you're a David Lynch fan, this movie is the dream that created all the dreams of the other worlds that he's created. This is Twin Peaks before Twin Peaks, plain and simple, because this takes place in a town called Lumberton, and it's a logging town. Mystery unfolds where it looks like a nice, quiet suburban town. But there's darkness underneath with weird characters. There's a diner where a log truck passes by, just like in Twin Peaks, if you've ever watched Twin Peaks. There's even like when Dennis Hopper's got him in a car and they're driving down the road, there's like the way they film the road is just like the way they film the road in Lost Highway. You would almost think it's the same scene with the road. So this is like the dream. I say dream because
I love factories.
Yes, he loves factories and nude women. That's he does. So this would be the start of everything, because you could clearly see it in this movie. I could see American Beauty being inspired by the opening of this. I could see that. But essentially this movie, and once again, Kyle MacLachlan is playing David Lynch. He's playing David Lynch. I mean, you can clearly tell he's playing him, especially after you watch like the special features on this, when they talk about who David Lynch is, and when you see him in real life and talk to him, because they always asked him, like they said, is he really weird and dark and stuff? And he's like, no, he's like this normal, weird, nerdy guy, really, who's happy. But everything he sees is dark. So that's clearly where he comes from. But like Kyle MacLachlan is this young college kid who's has come home from college because his dad has a heart attack. And after he visits his dad at the hospital, he's walking through this woods. He finds an ear in the field. He takes it to the cops, and he gets intrigued by this mystery of who this ear is and who this lounge singer is that he finds out about from the detective's daughter, who's played by Laura Dern. And he goes undercover to start investigating this, and he like plays, he falls in love with Laura Dern's character, but he also, gets in an erotic thing with the lounge singer. And it's Dennis Hopper is this crazy, absolutely freaking crazy dude in this movie. He steals the movie, as Dennis Hopper does, who's obsessed with the woman, the loud singer woman, and maybe he has something to do with the ear and her family, and he's making her.
He didn't even need a chainsaw.
No, he did, but he's got like this mat. He's got like this breathing mask that he keeps. He pulls it out. And he's like
nitrous oxide or whatever.
Yeah, he's like, now spread
That's
some
all I
legs
remember
for me.
from it.
That's like he's like, spread them. I want to see it. That's literally a scene in the movie. And he's really creepy. And then Dean Stockwell has an appearance in the movie as well, and he's like really creepy. Dean Stockwell from Quantum Leap and so many other things. He's really like this really creepy type guy, and he does this really weird lip singing scene. But yeah, you could totally see where this. You could see this is Twin Peaks. Like you take this, and then whatever Mark Frost, the co-creator of Twin Peaks, brought to the show, you take that and Mark Frost, and you get Twin Peaks. That's legitimately this where it comes from. And then everything David Lynch has done after this all stems from. It's like because when you watch his movies, you don't know if they're dreams or if they're parallel worlds or whatever they are, but they're all sort of connected. This is like, when they talk about like multiverse and stuff, this is the Earth, like Earth One or whatever you want to call it, where it's all stems from. That's as far as it. But I do recommend this. This is a good movie. It's creepy. It's not for everybody. It's a little erotic. It's a little weird. It's a little David Lynch. So, so you guys have it. If you want to see it, check it out. And you know how he is. Yeah, little Laura Dern does not look good, very good now. Yeah, it is crazy that she was like 18 or 19 years old in this movie. I do wish he did more films, but also the type of films. The thing with David Lynch is he had his own visual distinct style. And like we've talked about before, he was a painter and everything. So the type of movies he made were not always successful. And he liked to do his own style, so that didn't always clash well with people. So I think he did what he could do the way he could do it. So that's the way I see it. Yeah. But I mean, even though Netflix passed on it, they're thinking about releasing the script as like a book for people to read if you want to, buy that and everything. But yeah, there you guys have it. Wild at the Heart is great. Yes. Like I said, I've seen most of his work. There's just a few here and there that I haven't seen. I've been trying to pick them up, and it's been a weird summer because it's been like I know I use, like I've said it before, I talk about like horror movies, B movies, and stuff like that. I've just really been into David Lynch and Superman this summer. So it's just kind of like been the focus here lately. And I'm going to get back to the other stuff sooner or later, but it's just kind of been like the focus of what my brain's been on. But anyways, there you guys have it. I almost said Wild at Heart. There's Blue Velvet. It's a good movie. I can recommend it if you're a fan, if you've never seen it, and if you want to see where David Lynch all started, because he did it. It's funny because he did it after Dune with Dino Laurinaitis. He did it because he wasn't going to work with him again. Because I know Tom, about everything that went on with Dune and everything, and the troubles he had and whatnot. And so he said Dino told him, he's like, listen, I'll get the money for you for this movie, and you can have final cut just to do that. He was like kind of giving it to him. As like, I know everything we went through with Dune. I'll let you do this because I need a movie. You need a movie. Let's get this done. He said it was a handshake deal. He didn't put it in a contract because he said if he would have put that in a contract, then every director in Hollywood would want the David Lynch deal. So he didn't put it in a contract. They just had a handshake deal, and he gave him final cut of the film and let him do what he wanted. So there you have it. Krypton Peaks. I would watch that actually. It's almost kind of what they tried to do with that. It was a weird Krypton show as well. To be honest with you, I haven't never watched that all the way through, but I do own it. Anyways, yeah, I get hooked on them, and like there's something about them and the music and everything. It's just I get hooked on them. But to you, Tom, what's your next pick for the night? If you're ready.
Well, I'm kind of harkening back to the Jurassic Park stuff and Jurassic World. In that, they're, of course, disaster films, not just disasters. But going back to one of the big OG disaster films, just got a release on 4K. And I had not seen it since I was, I don't know, a little kid. But Earthquake.
Earthquake.
The big one. With Charlton Heston.
I didn't even know that was on 4K.
Yep, just came out.
Nice.
Steelbook from Universal.
I like that.
Has the old Blu-ray in there plus a new one. And yeah, I mean, is it great? I don't know how well it held up. It's got some really long, drug out, boring parts, but for the most part, it's all right. It holds up for the most part. Considering it's, it's Earthquake. I mean, yeah. It's in sense surround. Actually, I prefer the 5.1 mix, to be honest with you. But what else can I say about the movie? It was fine. Fairly decent scan. I didn't notice any typical issues we've had with any of the scans as of late. coming out of Universal, so I don't think they mucked with it too much, from what I could tell. Yeah. I mean, what can I say? It's one of those classic disaster films that follows a bunch of different characters in the day of one of the biggest earthquakes we've ever had, supposedly. And yeah, you got like Richard Roundtree, Ava Gardner, George Kennedy, Lauren Green, stuff like that. A whole bunch of famous people besides Charlton Heston in the film. I mean, some aspects of the movie are kind of meh, but overall, it was fine. It was fine.
I mean, those movies were kind of all big back in the day. It's sort of like,
yeah, you know, kind of what to expect. Yeah.
It's always a group of like, is it like, it's been a while, but it's like multiple people to here and there, right? Different stories, and they all sort of come together at the end. Yeah.
Some of them, for the most part, but not all of them.
Yeah. It's been a long time since I've seen Earthquake. I think the last time I saw it was on TV as a kid, maybe.
That's what I mean. It was on TV all the fucking time. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't. I wish I could say a little more about it myself, but like I said, I don't remember a whole lot of it. I remember Charlton Heston, and I think I remember somebody in a building on the edge of a building. Maybe. Or am I thinking of a different movie?
Well, no. There's a whole scene where they're like trying to get people off of down a building, and they have to kind of like propel them down on a chair.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Maybe that's what
that might be it.
Yeah. I didn't even, I'm gonna have to look that up in 4K. I may get it, may not get it. I mean, it is something classic. I remember what's the name? Tyrell here said. I remember like the airplane movies and airport movies and stuff. I won't say airplane. Airplane was a ripoff of the airport movies. I remember like the airport movies or the Towering Inferno, only because of Airplane. The movie Airplane is like, oh yeah, they made a bunch of these movies. That's what there's a spoof of, and it makes you want to go back and see the originals. So I remember those.
Well, isn't Airplane also like pretty much a script from an old movie, completely just?
Yeah, wasn't it like an airport sequel or something that they just repurposed it to?
I mean, it was a different movie. I forgot. It was like 0 Hour or something like that. It was called.
Yeah.
I think, or something like that. I can't remember now. It was like a TV movie, but I think it was the movie that was kind of the template for all the Airplane movies, if I remember right. But yeah, it's basically the same kind of thing. And they literally used like the original script, and then they just punched it up with goofiness. But I remember that because like the scene between the little girl and the little boy is like word for word verbatim what's in the original TV movie. But it works because it's two kids saying this shit, right? You know what I mean? Like, because they're like having an adult conversation. I think the only thing it isn't is, of course, like I like my men like I like my coffee black.
Yeah.
I think that was the only thing that was added, but yeah.
I remember that. Yeah. They're saying it was 0 Hour is what Airplane did.
Yeah, that's what I said. So I was right. Thank you.
Right.
Yep.
See, Vic, get the Lynch marathon going. That's what I'm talking about. I still haven't got back to Twin Peaks though. I've only watched 3 discs and I haven't got a chance to get back to it yet. But yeah, horror at 40,000.
Damn, you've gotten a lot farther than I have.
I've just 3 discs of a 20 set, but I haven't watched it at all this week at all. So it's been a busy week. I've had to try to watch.
And I slowed down for you, but I think we discussed this. I think we said maybe we'll have to do this in a.
Yeah,
maybe we'll have to do some kind of Twin Peaks show or something. Maybe.
Yeah, we might do a special like after we. It's going to take a while, guys. It is. I mean, it is 20 disc. I think, right? Was it 20 disc? So it's going to take us a while to finish all that, along with our regular movie watching, and then maybe we'll do a special where we talk Twin Peaks and maybe some other Lynch stuff that connect to it or something. We'll see. Yeah. And maybe Steven will get you on here since you're a big Lynch fan as well. Yeah. But we'll get to it. I do want to say hi to Heather Preston and Random Brad, who catching us during his lunch break. And what is up, Lester Skeptic Tank? Yeah, busy's good. I don't like being not busy, but sometimes I don't want to be busy because I want to rest. So, you know what I mean?
Even God rested one day.
Yes, even God rested one day. So it was nice once we get to that conversation. It was nice to actually get out of the house and go to the theater and relax for a bit. It was nice to do that. Uh,
On that note,
you have one more. I have one more before we get to that.
yeah, so let's keep moving.
Yeah,
I'm done.
Because all right, if you're done, this will probably be because I know that's going to be the long conversation of the night. But I also watched The Sandlot on Blu-ray.
You're killing me,
Classic.
Smalls.
You're killing me, Smalls. Classic movie, baseball movie. 4th of July. I watched it because they have a great 4th of July scene in this and everything. So still waiting for the 4K because I know it's on 4K and digital.
I believe that disc you have in your hand there is from a 4K master. Yeah, I have the digital. Yeah.
It's really solid. It's really good.
Honestly, I think this is one of the titles that I think Disney will get to sooner than later. It's very popular and it fits right in there.
Yeah, and it's not like one of the Fox movies where there's like, no, we can't do that one.
It might even be on Disney Plus in 4K already. I don't know. I haven't checked.
It might be. I know it's on digital on 4K because I got the digital copy from this and it upgraded it to 4K.
Upgraded, yeah. I have it too.
So I know that. Yeah. So yes, it's The Sandlot. Tim Hayes, The Sandlot. Yes, rest in peace, James Earl Jones. The dog, the beast is great. Dennis Leary is great in this. I forgot Karen Allen was the mom. Karen Allen is in this. This is like one of her last movies, I think. Before I mean, not her last
retired
movie,
or whatever.
Yeah, where she kind of just faded away or whatever.
Other than indie, yeah.
So yeah, it is a classic movie. I mean, I watched it. I watched it around the 4th of July because summertime baseball. I know baseball starts in the spring, but it always seems like they amp up in the summertime, and they have a great 4th of July scene in the movie where they get to play. It's a great scene because they get to play baseball outside at dark with all the fireworks in the sky, and it reminds you of your childhood, right? Because I mean, even though it takes place in I think like the 50s or the 60s when he's telling it back, before he gets to the present. So it reminds you of your childhood. I mean, I don't think a lot of kids these days actually get to do a lot of that stuff anymore. Because I remember doing that stuff. I remember going outside playing baseball. I remember staying up late watching fireworks, hanging out like that, and stuff like that. So it's a fun movie. If you guys have never seen The Sandlot, do yourself a favor and watch it with your kids if you have kids or somebody like that. It's a good one.
I like it. It's a good one.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember seeing it in theaters. The gist of the story is a new kid moves to a new town. He's kind of a nerdy. He can't make friends. His mom wants him to make friends and get in trouble. She's just married Dennis Leary, so he has a stepfather because his real dad died when he was young. And he meets this group of kids who play baseball in this sandlot by themselves. And he wants to learn to play baseball, and he joins them, and he becomes part of the crew. And it's sort of like a Stand By Me type movie without them searching for the body. So, and then what your friends you have as growing up and what you become, and then it gets to where they are in the future. But yeah, there you guys. If you've not seen The Sandlot, do yourself a favor and watch The Sandlot. Fun fact: filming got set back one day due to an older local kid getting tickets for the young cast to watch Basic Instinct. Yeah, them kids probably became men that day. But there you have it, guys. And if you guys are looking for sales, apparently there is a Target's buy two get one free sale, which is sort of what Amazon's doing right now. Along with the Prime Day sales, you can get buy two for the price of one. Now, with that being said, I know we kind of breezed through them, and if you're not tired enough of hearing about it, or if you want to hear about it, we're going to talk a little bit of Superman. So, Tom, do you want to show off yours first? Because I know you watched a bit of a different version than I did of the original.
Yes, I mean, I brought on the 4K before.
Yes.
Both versions of that. But I also have the TV extended cut, which is a 3-hour cut of the film, plus 8 minutes of credits, for fuck's sake. And it also comes with the Richard Donner cut as well, which is basically the TV cut but truncated down a little bit. I like this version. It's not the best of qualities. I mean, it's a decent quality considering it's from like a what I would assume is like a second or third generation from the negative when they did the TV cut of the film. And yeah, you got the basically the downer cut there.
I had the TV cut with it, but I guess I just
it's close because that's what, like 2 hours and 47 minutes, I think.
Yeah,
roughly.
It's 151 minutes.
So that's what, 2 hours and 120. So,
it's 10 minutes from.
It's how much?
It's 10 minutes from being 3 hours.
So really, I guess maybe only 10 minutes or so, maybe of extra footage in this version, maybe overall. But it's some fun stuff. But yeah, it'd be nice if they did at least release that version in 4K. I'd be happy. But you have the 4K version as well, right?
Yeah, I have. I just brought them just because.
Yeah.
Just in case.
So yeah, I mean, of course, it's a classic. Check it out if you haven't seen it, especially the 3-hour cut. It's a fun little piece of.
Okay, there. Yeah, I know I was a little.
I was gonna say it's more like 2 hours and 30 minutes. I was thinking there's a lot of extra stuff in this version. Yeah.
Yeah. I was off with my math.
So Richard only decided to add another. Well, in his version, it's only like another 10, 15 minutes or whatever it is. But like this cut goes on to 3 hours and 8 minutes with the credits. But yeah, there's a lot of new extra, or not new, but extra stuff in there with Lex and Otis and Mrs. Tessmacher, and it actually has a lot more little goodies here and there, and when Clark's growing up and some other things. What's funny is also because like since there's a couple extra scenes of Clark as a teenager, when they didn't do the dubbing, for the regular scenes, you just hear the other guy's regular voice. I just forgot the actor's name, but yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But yeah. So yeah, no, it's a decent version of the film. It's sound wise, it's okay. It's a stereo mix from back in the day. So you get basically the original theatrical stereo cut with it is all. But that's probably the part where it lacks the most. It is just a little light sounding. Like there's not a ton of good bass or good sonic,
Yeah.
surround sound sounds to it.
Didn't the Warner Archive do that version of that one?
Yes, and I think it's a 4K scan, but it's like I said, it's not from the negative, so it's like a second or third generation print of whatever they put together for the TV cut. The only thing I wish they had on here was like it'd been nice if they had thrown on like all the promos and stuff for it, and also had because like with King Kong when they did that TV cut, they have it like split up into 2 nights, or you can watch it all together, I think, if I remember right, on the Shout Factory disc. I wish they'd have done something like that here too, and we also got like the trailers and the previews of like tonight on ABC, a special event, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that'd have been
2-night,
special event
movie premiere. Yeah.
If you look real closely, you can see where they tried to make his nose look like Christopher Reeves,
especially in the 4K. Yeah.
Yeah, you can see like the prosthetic on it because it doesn't match his skin color at all. Yeah, I know Media Archive, Mike. We covered it. My math was wrong. I know.
They do replace a couple of the pop songs in the TV cut too for some reason, which is a rarity.
Really?
I don't know why. Yeah, like Rock Around the Clock, and I can't remember what else was switched out.
Maybe they couldn't afford the TV right.
The Fleetwood, or not Fleetwood Mac, but the or isn't that, who is that? It says give a little bit. Is that Fleetwood Mac?
Oh yeah. Who does sing that?
I think no, if it's not them, it's shit. Who did Breakfast in America? One of those two bands.
Supertramp?
Yeah, that's still in the movie for some reason, but like Rock Around the Clock and like one of the other songs is taken out. The one that was playing on the radio when his mother wakes up in the morning. Supertramp. Yep, that's what I thought. Thanks.
Yeah, Supertramp. Yeah.
I knew what I meant. I've gotten like 3 hours of sleep, and I've got a lot of work to do. So like,
I know.
Scattered.
We stayed up really
There's
late.
a reason for that. Yeah, so that's kind of a segue, I guess.
Yes. Well, I do want to share a little something before you
sure.
get into that, because on the basis of physical media and on what we're talking about, one of the things that I did get into in preparation to watch the new one is I went through some of my old Superman comics. This is what I was telling you about earlier, that one day Tom, where Mystic Pizlik still Lois Lane away from Superman. He comes he comes in like dressed like he's disguised as not what's his name from Miami Vice. The guy from Miami Vice. I can't think of his name, but I did go through some of these comics. Like talk about that. Like Lois, I didn't mean to. I lost control. He's knocked up. Knocked her out. Tell me they wouldn't do something like that nowadays. But yeah, I was just going through some of my old comic books and reading them and stuff like that. I just share them, getting into the spirit of the comic booky-ness of it. I would tell you this one right here would probably be a big part of the new movie. This comic right here relates a lot to that. Bizarro, maybe even that one too. Bizarro. You never know. Jimmy Olsen and Clark, The Adventures of Superman. Superman with Marv Wolfman here, and I think I'm on the last the Kryptonite. I think there's one more. No, there's more than I anticipated, and that one. Yeah, there we go. This great story here for the, there we go. The camera was blurred. Great story here for the man who has everything. Check that one out. That's good. But okay, now that's a good segue to what we were going to talk about now. So yes, Don Johnson was his name. Thank you, Style Section. I couldn't remember. Thank you, Tyrell. But with that being said, we watched these Superman movies and I read the comics because we went and saw Superman, the new James Gunn Superman movie. And we did talk a lot about, if you guys haven't seen it, I should get that link. Tim, if you're still in the chat, or Steven, if you're still in the chat, if you want to go get that, the Midnight Edge After Dark Superman review we did, if you want to put it in the chat. If not, I'll find it. But I watched it. I did do a video on it. I released it today. I liked the movie. I had to sit with the movie a bit, after watching it and everything. And the more I've been thinking about the movie, the more I actually think I liked it more than I thought I did. You know what I mean? I do think I need to give it another rewatch. But the more I'm like, after I started just thinking about it after getting out there, because that's why I didn't want to do a video as soon as I got home. But I did want to talk with you. When you did it, like I was like, the more I think about it, and after we had that conversation, I'm like, thinking I'm liking this movie a little more. Is it a perfect movie? No, it has flaws, but there's something about it that keeps lingering in my head. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I want to see it again. I had a lot of fun. I thought it was really good. Is it the best Superman movie ever? No. But it was a lot of fun. I think that most people will enjoy it. Of course, if you're a Snyder fan or somebody who thinks that Superman should always be dark and dour and serious, you're not going to dig this movie. I'll be honest with you. It's just not going to be your cup of tea.
Yeah.
But if you're a fan of especially like the Silver Age comics and some of the ones that like Greg just mentioned and stuff like that, and you're into more of like the 90s animated series of Superman, you'll probably enjoy this film, I think.
Yeah. And also the more I think about it, I know people have been saying it feels like the 90s animated series, but it also feels like a live action DC animated movie too.
Yes, very much so. Yeah.
I would definitely, like I brought it on here before, I would definitely recommend Superman versus the Elite. A lot of what's in that movie is in the new Superman movie. A lot of like with the whole plot of the war thing and people turning on Superman a little bit. I'm trying not to spoil anything because I know I've said a little bit, but a lot of that what's in the new movie is in that movie, and it shows you what Superman is and what he stands for.
Well, I want to highlight something Tyrell says here. He says it's getting incredibly mixed reviews amongst the fans. Honestly, Tyrell, it's only amongst our circle here in YouTube mostly. Because if you look at like the Rotten Tomatoes score and all that kind of business, it's overwhelmingly positive. It's getting like a 96 right now on the audience score.
Mm-hmm. It's doing well amongst audiences.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying everybody's going to like it. Like I said, there's going to be, obviously, Snyder fans are just not going to like it.
Yeah, they were
anybody
never
who
gonna
wants
like
their
it.
Superman like serious or anything like that, they're not gonna like it. If you're somebody who is not a fan of James Gunn, you're most likely not gonna like it, because there is some James Gunnisms in here, and I don't mean just in the humor aspect either. I mean just in the way he likes to tell his stories, the type of characters he likes to use, or like the characterizations, the things he likes to kind of key in on, the heartstrings aspect of it. It's not perfect. There's some issues. Greg had a few different issues than I did. I think most of the main issues, most people agree that, yeah, some of the CGI is a little dodgy, stuff like that. But other than that, mileage will vary. But I mean, I know a lot of comic book fans who are very happy with it. Then I know some comic book fans that were disappointed. So I know more that we're overwhelmingly positive about it. Even some of the people that kind of give it like less than positive reviews, they still have good things to say.
Yeah.
And they can't say it's woke, right? Like that's the one thing everybody's saying. Even like Gary of Nerdrotic and stuff like that didn't like it, but he still said it wasn't woke.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
and
not.
that's true.
Yeah, that's true. It's not. And as a
all this bullshit that was out in the press is just that bullshit.
Exactly. I mean, when you even watch the movie, it's not even what it's even about. I don't even think they hardly mentioned, but maybe one time that Superman is an alien immigrant, just like one time, and it literally it has nothing to do with trying to detain him like ICE alien immigrant. I mean, he does somehow, but it's nothing like that. You know what I mean?
You could draw all sorts of parallels and go in all sorts of things, but even like James Gunn said himself, you got to remember this thing was written a couple of years ago and shot a year ago, finished shooting a year ago, and like you said, some of the stuff that's in the movie is in the comics that you just held up.
It is.
So there's a history for it, and you could totally go and insert whatever you want into certain things. Like yes, like these two fake countries that don't even exist. Yeah, you could sit there and draw parallels to either Russia and Ukraine or something going on over in the Middle East at any given time in the last 20, 30 fucking years, right? Like that's the problem is there's so many things that are so generically like this. And then even anybody who tries to say that like Lex is some kind of Elon or Trump allegory, there's a line in there that kind of defeats that whole thing. So again, we're not going to get too deep into spoilers, I don't think, unless Greg wants to, but
I mean,
at least for now. Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying like, yeah, at the end of the day, I think my rating is like a 7.5 or 8 out of 10. And I think that most people will probably fall in that 6 to 7 to 8 range as far as out of 10.
I was with you on the 7.5 out of 10. I did have some things from it, but just like the biggest thing I had with it is as a comic book fan growing up with Superman is the lore change they did with Jor-El and Laura. And I think
and we still don't know for sure that's the truth. And because I still argue the way that comes off in the film, and I'm not going to specifically get into any spoilers, but Greg knows what I'm talking about, and those who've seen it kind of know what I'm talking about. In that, the way it comes off in the film, it is so could have been easily manipulated. There's nothing that really supports it's necessarily true per se. There is some nuggets there that you could say, oh, that kind of says it's true, but there's also nuggets that could say it's not true, right? And one of the biggest ones for me is that a certain character who's off planet through the most of the movie. Because that specific character could have just turned around and said, well, that's bullshit. And that'd have been it.
She could have and
that's why I think one of the main reasons why she wasn't around for this movie, let's say.
I'm thinking so too. For my peace of mind, for my comic book brain peace of mind, I have to have it addressed. Once it's addressed,
it will be.
I mean, if it's addressed,
there is a third possibility that we didn't even bring up last night.
What was that?
That it is technically accurate, but it isn't. And Lex isn't the one that messed with it. But you know who did? Brainiac, maybe.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, because
Gunn likes to leave his little nuggets. So yeah.
When she's in the computer, if you guys don't mind, we're going to spoil a little bit.
And I wonder, I have an idea where you and me might be thinking the same.
I never thought about
thing right now.
She did just now. Because when the engineer is in the computer and she has that like big, like, oh my God, that could have been. I never even thought about that.
Setting up, now. And it could, and I'm not, and that's a character where I'm not against them gender swapping, kind of, if you get my drift. If they end up combining those two characters, I would not be adverse to it.
Well,
I can see it heading that direction.
The thing with
she wouldn't even Brainiac wouldn't even technically be agender, but yes, yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah,
yeah. With Brainiac, technically, he possesses people first. The real Brainiac
That's true.
Is somewhere else. You know, he's off.
But
in
her
his own
power
ship,
set
so
just completely works well with what he is, right? Like that's kind
very,
of the whole...
very much. And I could see him coming through her, but like I said, if you've read the comic books, Brainiac has his own like different bodies. The real Brainiac is somewhere on a ship far, far away, and all the Brainiacs that Superman
right, they're all automatons or whatever.
They're like automatons or possessed people from his mind and his robots and stuff. So I could see that. I could see that very well.
I don't think it's true because of the simple fact that it goes against everything that's in the beginning of the message. And not only that, it feeds into everything that Lex wants it to say.
That's
that's the thing. It's like it's too on the nose, right? Like,
it's very on the nose, but I just wanted to say it was fake. I just want to hear that. I
see, and that's where look, and of course we're kind of getting spoiler ground, guys. So
yeah. So if you guys don't want to hear,
the spoilers, thing is with Supergirl, unless they change her origin story, even though she's younger, that's always been the kind of way it is, and you know this. Like in the story, she left or was sucked into, depending on which one. She always was older than Kal-El, but she always wound up either in the Phantom Zone or in a black hole kind of situation or whatever, to where she comes to Earth after Kal-El. So she would be fully well aware of everything that was going on Krypton, right? So all she would have to simply say is that message is bullshit. Yep. And that's why I think she's not in the movie.
If she says that, I'm cool. That fixes it for me. And
or she just say something like, that doesn't make sense because that's not the way we were or anything. You know what I mean? Like, because she would have been adult enough that where she represents what Krypton was.
Well, right? The age she is the age she was when she left. So.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying. So she should even be able to speak Krypton, right?
Yeah.
Which again goes to like, why didn't Clark just ask her to be? He never wanted to know. Maybe it doesn't matter, and he even says it himself in the movie that maybe I never did. Doesn't, because it doesn't really matter. Even if it is technically true at the end of the day, I still think that the message at the end of the movie makes up for it. But I just don't buy it because it goes so against everything they're saying in the opening part of the message.
It does. It really does.
And they make such a big deal out of everybody going, well, it's authentic. And it's like, well, the only reason they keep saying that is mainly because it's not, probably. And Lex is making it look that way. And he wants to make sure everybody thinks it is, right?
Yes. And also to go back to your Brainiac theory and Supergirl is because like you mentioned, there's two like variations of her story. Is one
the Kandor one, where she's shrunken down.
Yeah, she was shrunk down. The first one was she was sent to look after baby Kal-El. Her parents sent her to look after him. She got stuck in the Phantom Zone and was frozen in time and whatever, and was released. Or Brainiac struck her and her family in the battle city of Kandor, and her dad and mom managed to get her out, and she was sent to Earth. But they were frozen in time in that as well.
She has a clear connection to Brainiac, and I agree with you. And the way that character was left at the end, I was thinking of the same thing in between the shows here. And I'm just like, oh. Because I thought the same thing you did, too, when you first oh, yeah.
Yeah.
When she was plugged in, she was, like, jacked up. Something got inside her. I think you're right.
Yeah, because, I mean, when because the way they make it look, now that I think about it, because the way they make it look about how she's like getting all this knowledge so quickly, so fast.
Her eyes go white and all that shit too.
Eyes go, yes, and then the message that they deliver. Why does she have this big like euphoric, oh baby moment? For just that message. So I never thought about that till now.
Because the only thing that supports that it's real is the robots, and you have to really kind of draw some thread there. And that's where I said when Superman first came in and number 4 was like stabbing his brain, and he's like, gotta protect Kal-El, gotta protect Kal-El, gotta protect Kal-El, and he's doing all that business.
Yeah.
What it could be, and I think that was implying, is that the possibility is that he manipulated it on purpose because he saw and was watching Kal-El grow with the Kents and said, wait a minute, what they were thinking is not correct. Right. And you can even look at it as a sense of like when they sent Kal-El, yeah, we were probably in a pretty tumultuous time in our history, depending on how far away, because we don't know how he traveled through space and time, like as far as how long it took him to actually get here and all that business. So, I mean, you could talk about a lot of things in that respect of like, yeah, maybe, but even then, the things that they say don't come off or don't sing true with what they started the message with. So to me, it feels manipulated. It feels like, because Lex was smart enough to know, like, okay, if I can translate this first part, I can manipulate the second half to say whatever the fuck I want.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it probably says exactly what Superman thought it said the whole time. Because otherwise, that's what I was thinking, is that 4 saw that, you know, Clark was being raised by loving people, and that he was watching and observing and seeing that people were a lot better than what they thought to begin with, right?
Yeah.
And he did it on purpose. So he knew that Clark would just be that guy. But that puts too much on Gary, right? Like that puts way too much for him to kind of...
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. That's the only thing that can make it true, really, at the end of the day, other than maybe it is, but I doubt it. Because otherwise, why would it have been corrupted?
Mm-hmm.
Other than if somebody wanted to manipulate it. They say it's because of the damage. See, and that's the other thing. Gary says that. You just got to go with what Gary says.
Yeah.
For those who don't know who Gary is, that's what 4 decides his name is. At the end of the day.
It's like, when are you going to give me a name? 4's a name. So is Gary.
So is Gary.
And Alan Tudyk is great as I mean, he's great as that.
The only thing that I don't like about the robots is they imply that they have no emotions or anything, but yet they all act like they do.
Yeah.
Especially Gary with the whole idea of protecting. I get it. That's his mission.
Mm-hmm.
But for him to do what I just said, that means he has to have consciousness on some level to address that.
It's true. It's true. And the robots in the comics as well have technically, depending on which era you read, they do have, Superman does have a connection to these robots, and they are like friends to him, and they do have emotions and connections.
Well, and that's one of the things to me that makes Superman sweet, is even if they technically don't, he is such a nice guy that he even treats these machines that don't demand any sort of respect with respect. Right?
Yes.
So like that, and that says a lot about Superman, and the whole movie's about that, right? And that's what I love. And that's the whole point of the message by the end, is that whether it's true or not, he became who he is because of who raised him. And that's what I love, that's the message of the film, because that's what we've always said about Superman, right?
That is Superman's message. You know, that is who he is to begin with the Mom and Paul kit instilled in him the goodness that you see in Superman.
Yeah,
you know?
Everything he's doing is because of them. And he basically, that's kind of the whole point of the movie at the end of the day, not to spoil too much, but like that's the overarching theme basically by the end.
Yeah. And, you know, to be honest, I do like that, because I do like when he saves the squirrel in the movie, because it reminded me of when Christopher Reeve saves a cat in, you know, so I liked that.
And I also like that the message is basically that, yes, Superman may be an alien, but he's still human.
Mm-hmm.
And what that means is he was raised by humans. And he even has that great scene where he's talking about, like, yes, I get scared, I worry, I love all those things just like people do, because that's the way he was raised, right? Despite where he came from and despite his powers, that is the main point. And even though the Kents kind of get the shaft in the film, his dad still has the best and most important line, as always.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's like, what you do defines you. Right? Which, again, it's this simple, like, you know, with great power comes responsibility kind of thing. And that's where I think the movie shines, is it does understand that. So, I mean, anybody who's sitting there saying, oh, Gunn doesn't understand Superman or anything like that, that's bullshit. Now, we can have a different discussion about, did you not like the tone that he took with Superman? That's completely fair. But there is a basis for it. Right, It's totally Silver Age. It's totally, you know, like you said, versus
very
the Elite.
comic booky. It's very it's very Saturday morning DC animated type movies. Because the more I did think about it, the more I felt like, because I know a lot of people are drawing comparisons to the 90s animated series, but I also started thinking it reminded me a lot of the early DC animated movies after the 90s, because those were based on comic book, like they would base on like a lot of the Superman and Batman stories that they did were still spearheaded by Bruce Timm, who did the 90s series. And a lot of this movie kind of felt like that. Now, once again, there is some James Gunn isms that I didn't like, specifically one with Crypto near the end. I thought that kind of ruined the moment a little bit, but it didn't ruin the movie. But it just really depends on your flavor of tone. But as far as the movie goes, the more I do think about it, the more I do like it, the more I feel like it is Superman. And I really liked David Cornsweet's performance. I liked his what he brought to the table. I think Lex Luthor stole the movie personally.
Kind of, yeah, in a way, yeah.
He was incredible. Lois was great. I loved Lois. I did love the romance between the two. I'm a romantic at heart, people. I love the romance between the two. I love Jimmy Olsen. I don't think we've talked enough about Jimmy Olsen, but I love.
No, he's great.
Jimmy Olsen was a bit of a player in this movie. I love it. He kind of reminded me a little bit of the Jimmy Olsen from the Lois and Clark TV series, the second one after they got rid of the first guy, because he would typically get a lot of good looking women on that show. They tried to make him like the cooler hip Jimmy Olsen at that time. But he's still sort of like the nerdy Jimmy Olsen that you would normally read about, redhead, freckles, and all that. But he has a way with women, and I really liked what they did with his character. I needed more Perry White.
That was one of the just real quick, like that one connection with him and another character I totally didn't even see coming, but I'm like, duh.
Yeah.
When it finally came together, I was like, oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, you needed that together. I needed a little more Perry White because the actor, I can't remember his name, but the actor they got to play him, I know he's been race swapped again, but this guy actually,
I've seen him in a ton of TV shows and movies, and I can't place him offhand either, but yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah,
I can't remember his name. I think he's in The Wire, or not The Wire. Oz, maybe? I don't know. He was in one of those big shows, but anyways, he's really great. I thought he was a great Perry White. I do think they missed an opportunity to have him say one of the most classic Perry White lines. And I don't mean Great Caesar's Ghost or Great Shades of Elvis. Is one of the thing with the comic books is, especially like the Silver Age and stuff, because Clark is always missing. Clark is always gone because he's Superman. One of the things Perry White does when he's barking out orders is like, Lois, you do this, Jimmy, you do that. And where the hell is Clark Kent? He's always asking, where is Clark? And he doesn't do that once in the movie, especially at the end when he's getting them all together. I'm like,
well, there might be a reason for that. And I kind of, and this again, getting into a bit spoiler territory, because I love the line of how long they've been hooking up.
Yes.
Right. Because clearly because that's like the thing in The Office, right? The unsaid thing is everybody knows everybody's business, but they don't say it. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it makes me wonder if they haven't all put two and two together.
It's not wrong because go ahead.
No, I was just saying because they're in such close proximity to him that even the glasses aren't going to work.
Yeah, it's true.
Forever.
It's true. Wendell Pierce is his name. Thank you for that. But there is a great comic book where I've read before where Clark has been missing for a while, and Perry White and Lois are having lunch, and he's talking to her about Clark and everything, and then he tells her straight to her face. He goes, "Lois, you and I both know your husband is not who he seems, who he is."
Right.
Like Perry White knows, but he never.
Perry's not stupid. He's a fucking reporter.
Exactly. He's like the best of them. That's why he's the chief, but don't call him chief.
Exactly. Don't call me Sugar Chief.
Yeah, don't call me Sugar Chief. So he more than likely Perry White knows, but he doesn't say anything because he's Perry White. He doesn't need to say it. He knows how good he is. So
yeah. So I kind of think that with that scene is kind of hinting that him and Jimmy already kind of know.
Yeah.
They already kind of fucking know. And they're just not saying anything. But you're right. I mean, there's probably a few things that I like. That's probably the thing that's another gripe of mine is that the Daily Planet cast kind of gets the shaft of all of them.
We do get less of them and even Clark Kent himself more of the movie.
The mild-mannered reporter Clark Kent. Yeah. We get plenty of Clark as the real Clark. Yeah.
Which is great. I do like that because there's always, once again, depending on the era you read, like the older one is Superman is who he is, Clark is his disguise, and then in the 80s when John Byrne took over, Clark is who he really is, and Superman is his disguise. but there really
Right.
is a third version of him, like we just talked about.
Right, which is where like I love the speech like most people do in Kill Bill, but it does leave out the obvious third version of Superman, which is the version that Ma and Pa know and Lois knows, basically. Yeah.
Because those
The
are
real
his,
Clark.
That's the real Clark, who he is. And it's typically
Or
the
you can call him
flannel
Kal-El or whatever, yeah.
Whatever. It's typically he doesn't wear the glasses. He wears his flannel. He wears his jeans. You know, he's like he gets to be who he is. So he's not pretending around them like he has to do everybody else. But no, if you're like looking for like the beat 'em up Superman, because this is a much more I almost thought it reminded me, the more I thought about it, also kind of reminded me of like the Batman story, The Killing Joke, where Joker tries to prove the point that anybody who can have one bad day will turn into the Joker. And the more I thought about it, is like Lex Luthor is throwing so much stuff at Superman in this movie to try to make him have such a bad day where he will lose control, and it kind of knocks him off his game. So I saw it as like, it wasn't like a weakened Superman, but it was a Superman whose game was kind of thrown off from Lex Luthor from putting all this on him all at one time. Because it's only like within a couple days, you know, it's not like a whole months and weeks. It's really like 2 or 3 days at most, you know, or possibly even it could possibly be a week. I think it was originally the way they had it set up before that. But yeah, it was basically like Superman is knocked off his game because Lex Luthor throws so much at him at this one point in his time where it kind of knocks Superman like, well, wait a minute, you know, what do I do now? But that's why I saw it. And yes, I do believe Lex Luthor will return in the sequel.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, there is some people who I guess you would say either die or we don't quite know if they lived or not, let's say, but Lex will definitely be back.
Oh yeah, they're not getting rid of him.
In fact, I'm just kind of surprised he didn't go even bigger in this one, so I'm kind of curious where he's going to go next, because even though there was one part you didn't care for, Greg, I know that'll be his reasoning for wanting to get more, you know, of the bionic Lex later.
Yeah, I could see him making the suit.
Yeah, because he kind of has the beginnings, and this is what I was saying, like there's the beginnings of that in the, what does he call the troops, the Raptors?
Oh,
like
yeah,
those
yeah.
Raptors all kind of look like almost kind of a variation on his suit.
Yeah.
And then, you know, like the monkeys where everybody's talking about, I'm like, yeah, but that could be leading to like Gorilla Grodd or something like that in the end. And really the monkeys were like barely even a part of the movie.
Yeah.
And to me, I don't know if you had this thing too, but I said it last night and I don't remember if you even responded to it. But like, I feel like the super shit thing landed better in the film because it got leaked out and all the stupid controversy surrounding it and how little of a part it actually plays in the movie, but how it lands as a joke. My audience, that was the biggest laugh in the whole movie.
Yeah, people really.
And I think you mentioned you had an issue with him saying that, or somebody did last night, and I didn't get back chance to get back around to it. Yeah, somebody said they had a problem with him saying
that wasn't me. I didn't have a problem with it.
Okay, so it wasn't you, but somebody said like they were gonna, but I never got back around to whoever it was that said it. So
no, it wasn't me. I know some people got really, really upset over that, and I think that people, like you said, it played better because of the social media thing. It had nothing to do with MAGA America calling him hashtag super shit. Had nothing to do with that. It was just Lex getting under the skin of Superman because that aggravated him. It had nothing to do with that.
Well, and he's trying to paint him as, and he knows that using social media is one of the best ways to influence. And he's not wrong. I mean, and as far as like a modern leaning into the sci-fi elements, this is, if you're into that part of Superman, like the sci-fi Superman, that part is totally in here. And it really does use the modern era as far as social media in that aspect. And I mean, Chris Gore said that's not going to age well, but I'm like sitting here going, Chris, I don't know, man. I think that might even age well than a lot of the Donner stuff, because look, I watched the 3-hour cut the other night and I love it, but I'm sitting here trying to like, because I was trying to prepare myself for this a little bit, going, okay, I got to remember now we're going into a new, it's been 50 fucking years since this movie came out.
Yeah.
Right? Like, this is going to be a new era. Even Man of Steel had some stuff like, look, I never really cared for it, but I tried to like it. I tried to give it a chance. I thought, okay, BBS can make up for some of this. Maybe there's something here that'll retroactively make better. No, in fact, did the opposite. It retroactively made it worse. But that's just my personal opinion. I just, it's. I don't know.
I couldn't get behind. I know I always.
I don't think it's going to age as much as people think, because I think social media is kind of here to stay, at least for our lifetime.
And honestly, if you really look at that, I think people will chuckle at that, because I think it was more play on, like you said, social media, not so much a political point.
Oh,
And
no,
also,
no, none of it's really political at all, honestly.
Yeah. And also, it wasn't working anyways. You know, it made Superman mad seeing the hashtag, but it wasn't working anyways. So the message is what works, that gets the people to turn on, because it wasn't turning that hashtag super shit and all that was not turning anybody against Superman. Maybe one or two people online, but it was not turning against them. It wasn't until the message that we talked about earlier, where it changes Superman's lore a little bit with his parents, that gets people to say, well, wait a minute, maybe Superman isn't who we think he is. That's what does it for him, you know? So, and like you said, it also could lead to Gorilla Grodd with the because they were like mutant smart monkeys with things on his head, the underhead. Which I did not have a problem with. It's just one joke and one scene in the movie. It's nothing big important that takes away from the movie. I personally, like I said, the more I think about it, the more I like the movie. I do have my pet peeves, which I did mention. I wasn't a big fan of Mr. Terrific, and everybody seems to be a huge fan of him. I just felt like he was. I liked the actor. I liked, his powers and everything. It's just I felt like he was being. And then when you brought it up last night, you said he's like Batman. He's Batman's replacement.
He kind of fills that role. Like, if this was a Justice League movie, like you just said, like the animated movie, it would be like that. What happened in the movie is the Justice League and everybody would turn on Superman, right? Except for Batman.
Yes.
Because he's that guy. And that's what I mean. And this is where, if anybody out there in the chat is listening from when I had said on any of the shows before, like I'd talked to somebody, one of my people behind the scenes, and they had kind of hinted that, yeah, people are kind of overdoing this idea of this being a Justice League movie or all these other characters are this big of a deal, when we really got to think of them like the cop buddy, is what he said to me. Or like the cops in a movie where, like, I'm like, okay, so like, what do you mean? And I'm like, I was thinking to myself, and then now seeing the movie, I'm like, oh, I totally get it. So he's that character that when everybody else is against the main character, nobody believes him, and the chips are down, he's the one guy who either trusts the main character enough and or smells something that don't smell right. Mm-hmm. So he's the guy that goes and kind of looks, and at the end is kind of the guy that helps, one of the guys that helps the main character, right? And that's where everybody in their secondary roles comes into play, especially Lois, right? Mm-hmm. Because at any moment she could have been some boss bitch, this or that or the other, but like she is pretty much exactly what she needs to be. That initial scene that they put out with those two arguing is exactly what I thought it was to begin with. In fact, once you see the more elongated version in context, it makes a hell of a lot more sense, and it's like, of course, Mm-hmm. And I love how her character is. Yeah, and I mean, they know they have their differences, and I mean, the way they try to make things work, I think, is one of the core elements of the film, right? Because that's his connection to humanity is his parents and Lois, right? Yep. So he needs that connection in a way, whether it's, one way or the other. Not trying to say it has to be physical, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think it was handled pretty well. I mean, people will nitpick certain things. We were even trying to nitpick certain things, but yeah.
And the thing is, like, like I mentioned before, is and I don't think that's what was kind of aggravating me online, with some people saying like, "Oh, I hate her. Why is she this way?" It's like, have you never seen who Lois Lane is? The whole point of Superman softens her jaded heart. Yes, she's not like a boss bitch, but she is this very like career-driven type woman who's a really great reporter and is good at what she does. And so, but she's lived on, like, her dad in the comics and stuff. They didn't mention this, but like
they didn't mention it, but I wonder.
Man. Her dad's a military man. He's a general in the army. She grew up an army brat. She grew up strict, and she, like opposed her dad. But then she has this code of her own. And then Superman comes in and he breaks through her walls and softens her heart. And you can see that happening in this movie. You see it because she starts to be a softer person, starts to be a softer woman, and starts to allow herself to be loved, you know. So I like that, and but also back to the point with like where you mentioned like Mr. Terrific is Batman. He steals Batman's line. That's what after you said it, when he says I'm GD Mr. Terrific, that's Batman. Batman has said that in a comic book. It's in a famous comic book by what is his name? Who did The Dark Knight?
Frank Miller.
Frank Miller, who did The Dark Knight. He did Batman. He's doing the prequel Batman story to that, and in that he says, "I'm the goddamn Batman." They legitimately stole the line from Batman for that first character.
Well, and I said the only reason I feel like they didn't have it be Batman is because it'd be too distracting.
Mm-hmm.
Because we'd want it to be like, "Where's Batman? Where's Batman?"
And I almost feel like now thinking about it, maybe he was Batman in a early script until.
I don't know about that unless they just whatever comic they took a lot of the story from, he's just fulfilling Batman's role. Perhaps it's just that he does the things that Batman would do. I agree with you on that. Yeah,
he does,
but he has a different set of skills. So yeah,
yes, he does.
And maybe there's another reason why they had that is he's like maybe at one point Batman was in the script, but they just amalgamized the two because they needed him to deal with the cosmic shit or whatever the black hole business.
Yeah. And it's not like I hate the character. It's just I felt like he was. Oh, this guy's going to be the cool character. So, like I told you last night, it's like, so we're going to show you that he's a cool character.
If he came off like some kind of DEI hire kind of thing, I understand. But I mean, I like the role he plays. And I get it. Like if you just don't like he's so cool. He's like the Fonz kind of thing that he does kind of.
Yeah, that kind of felt like that. Kind of like I'm the cool kid. And I don't know. Something about that just didn't work right. But like I also said in my review, him and Guy Gardner are the standouts of the movie outside of the main cast. They are the standouts of the movie. Hawk Girl gets the shaft, like we talked about a little bit. She gets the shaft. The Daily Planet staff gets a little underused outside of Jimmy and Lois, which even then we could have used more of them. But no, I love the dynamic between Superman and Lex. I really felt like they captured that, like the true hatred Lex Luthor has for Superman, and it really felt like this movie, their rivalry was born. Because yes, he's been Superman for 3 years, but this is the first time they come face to face in that 3 years, which is kind of interesting to think about that. Like he's been there for 3 years, and he doesn't come face to face with Lex Luthor till that moment in time. So that's kind of interesting to think about, really. But no, I would say I say give it a watch. I think everybody should, whether you're on the fence or not, give it a watch. Now, like we mentioned, it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea. Not everybody's going to like it. You don't have to like it, and I'm not telling you to like it. I'm just saying I thought it was a better movie than I anticipated, and I was somebody who was on the fence because when I first saw the first trailer, I did not like that first trailer. I didn't. Something about it just did not hook me. But once I saw the other two trailers and some of the other stuff, I was hooked from then on. And it made me really want to see the movie. And I enjoy it. I do think a sequel will be good for this movie. And I hope it gets a sequel. So.
We'll have to see how the next couple weeks play out. Yeah.
Yeah. I honestly can't say I'm too excited for Supergirl. I'm not so far, especially after a little bit of her characteristics. I don't know if I should say that, but yeah, and I wasn't. It's not like I was against Crypto. I liked Crypto. I thought maybe he was overplayed in the hijinks that he does and getting control of it. And there's one moment that I think he could have been taken out of, in my opinion. But it doesn't, once again, it doesn't ruin the movie. And that's where I'll leave that. I don't know if you have any, because I know you've been talking a lot longer than me.
Yeah, I mean, more so, it's been a long day, and I mean, I'm sure I'll be talking about it for the next few days in a row. And I think I think we've gone pretty much as far as we can get without getting too much more spoilerific. So
Yeah. And yes, I do remember the Fleischer ones, and we're still waiting for the Filmation Superman ones, and we're still waiting for, I believe, those and those are the Fleischer ones, right? The Filmation Fleischer.
I've heard rumors that they're supposed to be reissuing them in the 4K version that might look better than the ones we
The
got.
one yeah. I remember them, Trevor. Them were good. I remember watching them on a tape. I read it once because that like I talked about how like saw Superman the movie and everything. I remember going to the video store and renting like the Fleischer cartoons and also the 180 Superman cartoon. I can't remember it, but it's the one where the Kents actually adopt Superman from an orphanage. Do you remember that one? That cartoon? I think it's from the 80s, maybe the 70s.
Potentially, it sounds kind of familiar. I know in the original Fleischer cartoon they just bypassed the Kents altogether.
Yeah, and there is a Fleischers. I can't remember if it's the 70s or 80s, but it's like it starts where the Kents actually adopt him from an adoption. Like he crashes and they take him there, or somebody takes him there, and then the Kents adopt him and they take him home and they find out he can fly, their baby can fly and stuff. So yeah, I remember that cartoon. So yeah. What's up, Darren M? Glad to see you coming in at the end of the show. But yeah, I think that's all we got for you guys. I know you guys may be all Superman and lynched out with this lately. Like I said, sometimes I get in these with this. I get in these moods, and I haven't done Superman stuff in a long time, and I typically don't on my channel. I've been a fan of him for my whole life, but typically people don't like me talking about it. So you know, I this is the most I think I've ever talked about Superman on my channel since I've had my channel. And of course, like I said, I've been in a bit of a Lynch thing. There is one more Lynch thing I do have to get to. It's the documentary. I have to finish that documentary. I just haven't got to that yet. And then whenever I finish Twin Peaks, we'll do a special episode for that. But with that being said, there are some sales out there right now. If you guys want some physical media over on Amazon, they're having buy two, get one free movies. They got some deals from the Prime days. I think the Full Moon, if you guys like Full Moon Pictures, I think they're still having their sale. Is the Criterion sale still going on? I don't know if that's still going on or not.
I think it's nearing its last bit of it. I don't know if the sale itself is over or not, but like I got my Barry Lyndon today in the mail.
Yeah. I know Amazon still has some of those on sale, so I think it might maybe, but it's coming to the end. Yeah, it's coming to the end.
I was gonna say, I think it's
Yeah. So there are some sales out. They're almost over now. Thank you, Clark the Shark. Thank you, Brian Bird.
Oh, you know what we forgot to even mention that I don't think we mentioned at all the Vinegar Syndrome announcements.
Oh yeah, well yeah.
Jesus, we totally spaced that.
Ones, right though.
Well, Carrie 2 for some dumb fucking reason.
Oh yeah, Carrie 2.
And Mac and Me, which I bet you is going to be one of their biggest sellers ever.
Probably will be though.
They got that from Shit Factory. If it wasn't for Paul Rudd, I'd tell you that movie.
Yeah, bringing it on Conan all the time.
Yeah. between him and RLM, I think that movie's going to sell very well.
I think it will.
What was the other ones they had? Night Beast, and I think that was actually a re-release, but I think there was a couple other new ones in there, but I don't remember. There wasn't anything that, because I picked up a couple of their older titles that had gotten new slip covers. I think Sharksploitation was another new one from one of their labels. Which is just basically, I believe, a documentary on all the Sharksploitation movies. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. All right. Yeah. Why was the high school still standing at 30 years? The rage. It was all the rage, man. I remember,
Lord, that movie.
It was so bad.
So bad.
I mean, it fits in with the Vinegar Syndrome thing, but like seriously.
I would never pay as much as they fucking want for it. That's the problem.
Yeah, God, no.
And why can't they get their hands on like Pet Sematary 2 or something?
Yeah.
I heard like Shit Factory, I think, is supposed to be doing that in 4K, but
yeah, they have the rights.
It'd be nice if they did the full extended cut too, because I have the a VHS quality version of the work print of that. So there's kind of a more extended version of that.
That'd be nice.
I doubt they ever would, but
yeah. But I mean, it is nice to see like Vinegar Syndrome and Arrow getting some of the Shout titles that Shout ain't doing nothing with because they're taking better care of them.
Yep. And I'm
But-
glad because less Shulk gets, the better.
Exactly. I agree with you that because they have gone downhill big time.
Yeah, do we even make fun of them for re-releasing Halloween again?
Yeah, last week we did for the 100th time. They're re-releasing Halloween 1 and 2 Steelbooks.
And they're just the same ones they released before. It's almost like they did it on purpose just to piss us off.
The sad thing is people will buy that, and I'm just like, why? Just
well, it's a better cover than the one we got before.
It is a better cover, but it's the same disc, man.
But I'm almost half tempted at this point just to take all my covers from my old fucking Halloween box set and put them.
Just put them in there.
At least then I'll just have the theatrical posters. But I think those have those on the flip, so it's just that box cart.
Yeah, just the box art. Yeah. And I think some of them they've no longer have the box. Some of those where they've sold them and they
but I could just flip them and switch them out in that original box set. You know?
Yeah.
Because I don't need those ugly ass boxes.
Yeah.
And then to make matters worse, they had to go and do this just to kind of make the other ones not fit really with the other ones.
Oh yeah.
I mean they do, but they're in their own box now. So
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I should do that. Just take them out of here and put them in the old box set.
Yeah. And I think that's because those are like the Miramax Dimensions ones, so they had to do it all in a.
Yes, I believe that was the case. Yeah.
Yeah.
And some lucky bastards got them for dirt cheap because of Walmart's fuck up.
Yeah.
Mine got canceled, but some people's didn't for some reason. That's weird.
It changed on me right there in the store. Weird. She's back, don't you know?
No,
she's never been so back because she's on Broadway and they're giving her standing ovations.
Yeah, we did a video. Their standing ovation is them walking out and leaving because they realize, why is she not here for the main piece? She's out on the front lobby or the front awning thing, singing it from the balcony. But all right, boys and girls, I think we wrapped this up.
I think it was a bit of a short show tonight. Tom had some work to do and we stayed up really late last night. So as always, I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe to Midnight's Edge After Dark, Midnight's Edge. To me, keep buying physical media, keep supporting it. It is the superior format. As always, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
How you doing? Bitches leave.